Women didn't fight for our freedom just so we can spend our lives trying to become that girl. Sorry to whoever is trying to become that girl, because the greatest rebrand of the last decade wasn't a company, it was oppression. You stopped looking like chains and started looking like endless self improvement. Because there was a time when empowerment meant changing the world. Now it simply means changing your morning routine, somewhere between fighting for equal pay and curating the perfect 5 a.m. routine. Empowerment became a product. It became something that you can download, something that you can subscribe to, something that you can journal through, or something that you can buy on a weekend retreat, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it begs the question, when did empowerment stop being about dismantling their cage and became more of decorating the cage? When did empowerment stop being about freedom and became more about optimization? Because when you look at the empowerment movements of the past, they didn't tell a woman to become the best version of herself. They simply asked deep questions, big questions. Why aren't women allowed to vote? Why aren't women allowed to own property? Why can't women move freely through the world? Why can't women attend universities? Back then, the problem wasn't the individual, the problem was the system. Because the message was very simple back then, you deserve more because you are human. But now, fast forward to 2026, the language has completely changed. You're told to heal your inner child, romanticize your life, raise your vibrations, manifest abundance, become magnetic, build a personal brand, become your highest self, become a high value person. Do you notice the pattern? You are always becoming. You are never enough as you are. The modern wellness industry has mastered the art of selling self improvement as self love, but it is not the same thing. Do not be mistaken. Because when you think about it, what used to be called discipline has now been repackaged as self mastery. Writing a diary, keeping a diary is now shadow work. Exercise, moving your body, has now been termed as somatic movement. Saving money has now become an abundance mindset. So when you look at it, the ideas are not new, it's just the packaging. They have been repackaged differently. And as we all know, good packaging sells. But the wellness industry doesn't just sell products anymore, it sells identities. You don't just buy a journal, you buy the identity of someone who's healing. You don't just buy a yoga mat, you buy the identity of someone who's grounded. The irony is almost impossible to ignore because when you think deeply about it, an industry that is built on helping people feel enough often profits from making them feel not enough. And this is not to say that therapy is a scam or journaling doesn't work or boundaries don't matter, because they do. Healing matters, emotional intelligence matters, mental health matters deeply. The problem begins when healing becomes a performance, when every hobby becomes a side hustle, when peace becomes an achievement, when rest becomes productive, when your entire existence becomes a self improvement project. So we have become a generation that is exhausted, not because we are lazy, but because we have been taught that every flaw is a business opportunity. So we have started marketing everything, even things that should not be marketed. We are no longer just consuming products, we are consuming versions of ourselves in hope that we will become them. And somewhere along the way, we stopped asking the important questions, the big questions. Why are people still anxious? Why are people burnt out? Why is community disappearing? Why is everything so damn expensive? But instead, we are told to meditate harder. We are told to journal more. We are told to manifest differently. Because it is easier to solve a personal problem than challenging public problems. Changing yourself is profitable. Changing a system is not. And maybe that's why empowerment feels different today, because it no longer asks, who has power over me? Instead, it asks, how can I optimize myself enough to succeed anyway? And what you forget is real empowerment was never about becoming perfect. Real empowerment was about freedom, freedom to choose, freedom to fail, freedom to rest, freedom to exist without having to constantly prove your self-worth. So perhaps the most radical act you can do in 2026 is not buying uh, another self-help book or joining another masterclass. The most radical thing you can do in 2026 is refusing to believe that your value is attached to how profitable or productive or how healed or how optimized you are. It is realizing that maybe empowerment is not about becoming someone else. It's realizing that you are not that broken to need fixing in the first place. It's realizing that liberation is not a luxury that only the few can afford, because that's what capitalism wants you to think. It's realizing that liberation, empowerment is your birthright. So you don't need more products, you don't need to become someone else. You just need to live a little. Get out of your head, get out of your brain, stop scrolling, just touch grass for a moment, just live, get out of social media. Biohacking. What the fuck is biohacking? Hack your day in 10 minutes, hack your day, become productive in 20. What the fuck is that? So, yeah, become you.